The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that the president's sweeping tariffs were unconstitutional. It was a landmark decision, a 6-3 vote that crossed ideological lines. Justices appointed by both Republican and Democratic presidents agreed that what the Trump administration had done was illegal. And the moment the ruling came down, millions of Americans had the same thought. Does this mean prices are going to come down? The honest answer is no, not the way you were hoping. And understanding why that answer is no is one of the most important things any American can understand about trade policy, prices, and how the economy actually works right now. So let's break down exactly what happened, what the ruling actually changed, and what it did not change. Because the gap between what this ruling means in legal terms and what it means for your grocery bill or your mortgage or your car payment is enormous. Let's start from the beginning. In 2025, the Trump administration used a federal law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, known as IEEPA, to impose what became some of the most sweeping tariffs in modern American history. IEEPA was originally designed to give the president emergency powers to impose economic sanctions on foreign governments or entities during a national security crisis. It had never been used before to impose broad tariffs across broad categories of goods from dozens of countries simultaneously. The Trump administration argued that America's trade deficits constituted a national emergency and that IEEPA gave the president the authority to respond with tariffs. The so-called Liberation Day tariffs, announced in April 2025, hit imports from practically every country on Earth at once. The effect on the American economy was immediate and significant. The average effective tariff rate in the United States climbed to nearly 17% under these policies, the highest level since the early 1930s. Research from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York confirmed that roughly 90% of those tariff costs were absorbed by American firms and consumers, not by foreign governments. The Tax Foundation estimated that tariffs added approximately $1,000 to the average American household's costs in 2025, and as much as $1,300 in 2026. Consumer confidence dropped to its lowest level in 11 years. Small businesses were hammered. A survey by the Main Street Alliance found that more than 81% of small business owners either raised prices or seriously considered doing so because of tariffs. Over 40% delayed or considered delaying expansion plans. Nearly a third were anticipating layoffs. The legal challenges started quickly. On May 28, 2025, a panel of judges at the U.S. Court of International Trade unanimously ruled the IEEPA tariffs were illegal. The Court of Appeals upheld that ruling in August 2025. The Trump administration appealed to the Supreme Court, which heard oral arguments in November 2025 and issued its final decision on February 20, 2026. The Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. It was a striking coalition. Chief Justice John Roberts was joined by Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, Gorsuch, Barrett, and Jackson. 3 conservative justices, Thomas, Kavanaugh, and Alito, dissented. The majority opinion was clear and direct. The Constitution gives the power to tax, including the power to impose tariffs, to Congress, not the president. IEEPA is an emergency powers law. It is not a blank check for the executive branch to rewrite American trade policy from the Oval Office. The president's use of it to impose sweeping, open-ended tariffs on practically any products from any countries in any amounts he chose was unconstitutional. The Tax Foundation estimated that the IEEPA tariffs had already collected more than $160 billion from American businesses and consumers through the date of the ruling, and would have raised $1.4 trillion over the next decade if left in place. The ruling struck all of that down. The Yale Budget Lab calculated that if the IEEPA tariffs had remained in place, the price level impact on the average American household would have been 1.2%. Without those tariffs, the remaining tariff burden brings that number down to 0.6%, representing an estimated loss of about $800 for the average household and about $400 for households at the bottom of the income distribution. So, on paper, this is a significant legal win. The ruling erased what would have been one of the largest tax increases on American consumers in the modern era. It reasserted the constitutional separation of powers. It sent a clear signal that executive overreach on trade has limits under American law. So, why are prices not coming down? The answer comes in several parts, and every part is important. The first part is that Trump did not stop. Within hours of the Supreme Court's ruling, the administration announced a new set of tariffs using a completely different legal authority, Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. That law allows the president to impose temporary across-the-board tariffs of up to 15% when the United States has what the law describes as large and serious balance of payments deficits. Trump announced 10% global tariffs on the day of the ruling and raised them to 15% the following day. That 15% is the maximum allowed under Section 122, and the tariffs are valid for up to 150 days without congressional approval. Trade policy experts at the Peterson Institute for International Economics noted that Section 122 does not technically apply to the current U.S. trade situation because a balance of payments deficit is legally different from a trade deficit, and the administration's own lawyers had previously argued in court that Section 122 was no substitute for IEEPA. That means the new tariffs will face their own legal challenges. But while those challenges work their way through the courts, the tariffs are in effect. Additionally, the tariffs that were always imposed under different legal authorities remain fully intact. The Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum, which were imposed on national security grounds, were not part of the IEEPA ruling and are not going anywhere. The Tax Foundation estimates those tariffs alone will raise $635 billion over the next decade and cost the average American household roughly $400 in 2026. The effective tariff rate before the Supreme Court's ruling was approximately 9%. After the ruling and after the pivot to Section 122 tariffs, the overall effective tariff rate sits at roughly 9%, according to the Tax Foundation. That is barely different from where it was before the ruling. The second part is about how prices actually work, and this is where the real damage to American consumers becomes clear. When tariffs go up, companies raise prices to pass those costs to consumers. That process happens relatively quickly. When tariffs go down, or in this case, when some tariffs are struck down by a court, companies do not lower prices nearly as fast. Goldman Sachs analysts wrote in a note to clients after the ruling that they would not expect companies to lower prices in response to tariff reductions nearly as quickly as they increase them in response to tariff increases. This is a well-documented economic phenomenon. Prices, as one economist put it, go up like a rocket and come down like a feather. The markups that retailers and manufacturers built into their pricing to account for tariff costs have already become a part of the established price level. Those prices are sticky. They do not reverse just because a tariff policy changes. The chief economist at Wolfe Research put it simply when asked what the Supreme Court ruling means for prices. She said, nothing. Walmart is not going to give you a check for the 15% tariff on sneakers you bought from them 4 months ago. The Tax Foundation's vice president of federal tax policy confirmed the same. There won't be a dramatic overnight change in prices. The third part involves the $166 billion in refunds, which is the part of this story that sounds like it should help consumers and mostly will not. Because more than $160 billion in tariffs were collected illegally under IEEPA, those funds theoretically need to be refunded to the importers who pay them. A new government system called the Consolidated Administration and Processing of Entries has been created to manage that process, with the first phase going live on April 20th, 2026. But the refunds go to the importers, the businesses that paid the tariffs on goods coming into the country. Those businesses are not legally obligated to pass any of that money along to consumers. They can keep it. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was asked directly whether American households would see any of the refunded tariff money and said he doubted it, putting it plainly that he had a feeling the American people would not see it. Goldman Sachs estimated that tariffs had contributed a 0.7% increase in inflation over the 10 months they were most aggressively in place, and projected they would add another 0.1% in 2026. The Yale Budget Lab found that even with the IEEPA tariffs gone, the remaining tariff structure will still increase average American consumer bills by $600 to $800. If the full IEEPA tariffs had stayed, that number would have been roughly double. So the Supreme Court ruling was genuinely meaningful in preventing a worse outcome. But the baseline that American consumers are living in right now is still significantly more expensive than it was before the tariff era began. The broader picture is this. The Supreme Court ruling was a landmark assertion of constitutional principle. It said clearly that the president does not have the power to unilaterally rewrite American trade and tax policy using an emergency law designed for a completely different purpose. That principle matters enormously for the long-term stability of American governance. Brookings Institution scholars called it a fortification of constitutional accountability, noting that the extension of the Section 122 tariffs beyond 150 days requires a congressional vote, which means elected lawmakers will have to take personal responsibility for those tariffs just months before the 2026 midterm elections. But for the average American standing in the grocery store, filling up their tank, or looking at the price tag on a new washing machine or a pair of shoes, the Supreme Court ruling did not bring the kind of relief that its dramatic legal significance might suggest. The prices that were raised by tariffs over the past year are largely still there. The tariffs that replaced the struck-down ones are still there. The 90% pass-through of tariff costs to American consumers and businesses has already happened and is baked into the current economy. And the refunds that could theoretically reduce some of those costs will flow back to importing businesses, not to the families who paid higher prices at the checkout counter. What the Supreme Court changed was the legal and constitutional landscape of American trade policy. What it did not change is the price of the things in your cart.